Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. So I have an opportunity to now be driving the Rivian R1S. I am back with Rivian. Yeah, last week, if you were watching the channel, you know that I had an opportunity to drive the R1T. The R1T was a fantastic pickup truck, but it is certainly not as practical in terms of storage capacity that I would normally need for my personal needs. So I'm now looking at the R1S. The R1S has all the storage and capability that I would need because it's got three rows of the ability to carry everyone that I could potentially have in my family. So my parents, my cousins, everybody that I could possibly think of could fit in this massive vehicle. And from a distance, it kind of looks like a Jeep Grand Wagoneer for some reason. And, people in the comments have said like, oh yeah, like this is a cool truck, but at the same time, it's a very boring design. I don't necessarily disagree with that. I just think it's a classic SUV design. Let's continue with this vehicle because I think this is an interesting vehicle and I want to explore to see how it feels. I'm in front of a bus stop. This is where the Rivian dealer is located, right on Wythe Avenue. Here we have the car that is ready, park reverse neutral drive. We have our blinkers, standard operation, no surprises here. And of course, we have this beautiful black on black wood package with this cloth, I guess, threaded insert in the middle between the seats, the heated and cooled seats. I have tons of options. That's the cool setting. I could heat the seats. You have like standard operation here. I can also operate the steering wheel. I can lower the fan, and the options are endless when it comes to the adaptability of the screen. These are all the chargers within the New York area. So there's tons and tons of charging stations on this network, which is quite fascinating. The response to touch is pretty decent. I found it to be faster in the R1T for some reason. I saw a little bit of lagging, but that's just a product of internet connectivity when it comes to these things. We have our music option. You can customize your sound adjustments. We have our driving modes. So here we have stability, regeneration. It's on low because I'm coming from a gas vehicle. I don't want it to just like sort of die down when I'm driving. The ride feel moderate, so the softer feel is going to elevate the vehicle. Now, if I go to a firm feel, it's going to lower the vehicle slightly because this is an air suspension. And it's going to allow for me to be able to just modulate how the car feels when I'm driving it. So I think that's going to be very, very important. The camera quality is insane. A motion sensor cam. So if there's any incidents, it will tell you from any angle. You could just play around with the screen and you'll get every single angle possible, dating back to the past 9 days. Motion sensor cam. So I just got into this vehicle, and if I fast forward a little bit, I can even capture myself right there. I can capture myself getting into the vehicle. Yeah, that's me. Pretty cool stuff. So you are always protected when you drive this vehicle, even when you step away from it. And now I am off for the drive. I really think this is a really cool car, suitable for the daily commute. The panoramic roof is one of my favorite features because you could just look up, and especially if you're in a situation like Manhattan where you want to look up at a skyscraper and you find yourself in a car that doesn't have a sunroof, I think this is a really cool feature. It is fixed. So yeah, it doesn't have a sliding opening feature like that of a sliding sunroof that you would find like in a Porsche or in a Mercedes or any vehicle that features a panoramic roof. But it certainly suits the bill in terms of just being able to look up. Plus, by not having an opening roof feature, you avoid that of having to have leaks inside of your vehicle because rust repair is a real thing. Having a fixed roof, just a fixed glass roof, is a game changer. These regenerative brakes are definitely a challenge to get used to because the minute that you hit the brakes or the minute you lift your foot off the accelerator, the car starts to decelerate fairly quickly. But once you get the hang of it, it definitely gets easier to maneuver and manipulate and whatnot. When you're driving in New York, you have to always keep your head on the swivel because there's people coming in from every single angle. And because this is a demonstration vehicle, I want to do my best to make sure that I'm adhering to all the rules of the road. The creator of Rivian wanted to be intentional about creating a vehicle that was going to be well built. He wanted to compete with the other electric offerings that are out there. So, where does the name Rivian come from? Some of you have been wondering that. It all starts with Indian River, because this is a Floridian company that eventually moved to Irvine, California. And the origins of the founder of the company, he combined the words Indian and river, and he reversed it to Rivian, just to give and pay homage to the town in which he grew up in. Originally, it was called Avera. But then eventually, as the company was producing those initial run of sports cars, they realized that instead of making a sports car, they need to make something that was going to be a little bit more practical. But I could see from driving this car, just from seeing how fast this car is off the line, because all electric cars are very fast, almost dangerously fast. And that's me coming from Porsche, knowing that if a driver doesn't have the understanding of speed, you can get into trouble really quickly. And that's my fear about the electric cars. I could see how charging your vehicle could be problematic, but I think seeing how people drive this car almost in an irresponsible manner, I could see how that could become dangerous over the course of these cars depreciating and being accessible to a group of people who are like, I just got my license and I'm going to drive as fast as I want. That's going to be an issue down the line. So the electrification, and not understanding speed, I think that's going to be a problem. But we shall see. Only time will tell. Everything feels well built. The stitching is impeccable. The wood finishes are amazing. It looks like smoked ash. Like, I played baseball a long time ago, and I was always fascinated with the finishing of the wooden Louisville bats. Not the maple bats, but in particular, like the bats that were made from ash. And it feels like the wood is it looks like the repurposed wood after a forest fire. Like, it sounds weird and it sounds strange, but I just like the way that the wood feels in this car, and the way that it has like this non-epoxied finish, and of course I'm sure there's protective surfaces on it, but it just has like this feel that is connected. There's a level of being more connected to nature because of it, and I think I really like that a lot. So, final thoughts on the vehicle. I like the rear tailgate. It reminds me a lot of Range Rover in this specific model, because with the truck bed, like, you can't necessarily sit back there. You could, but it's only like, it functions like a pickup truck, so of course it's got tailgate capabilities. But I really do like the way that the tailgate splits open like a Range Rover Classic. To me, if I'm going to the local polo match, or I'm going to I don't know, an equestrian escapade of some sorts, having that rear tailgate comes in handy. I could see that being like a really cool clutch feature to, like, having all your friends and just going out. Like, I could see this as being a true adventure vehicle. It's got interesting storage capabilities. So I see the benefit of it, but at the same time, I see I see how this could function more like a me off-roading and having fun adventures with my friends. I just see this as a more practical vehicle that has sports car capability because Rivian initially wanted to make sports cars, which I find kind of cool. Which car is more exciting? I think the R1T is a little bit more exciting than the R1S, only because of the pickup truck styling. I think it's a little bit more daring. I think it's a little bit more bold. So I'm gonna pull over by the bridge and I'm gonna take some beauty shots because that's what you do when you're in Brooklyn. But let's take a look at this beautiful bridge. All the architecture in Williamsburg, Domino Factory, this cool building, the architecture choices are beautiful out here in Brooklyn. So it's very fitting that Rivian chose Brooklyn as one of its premier destination locations for having their dealership. And yeah, thank you for watching.